Hello and welcome back to Fiji. Looks like afternoons or mornings are kind of thunderstorm period because we're here again, and looks like to the north we got some heavy cloud and perhaps rain mist over the hills there. But we're going to be leaving today. We're heading down to New Caledonia, which are French islands, hence the Air France paint scheme on the aircraft. And we're going to fly down and spend a week there. That is the next leg on our Pacific Clippers trip. Now, the interesting thing about this airport is that's the only taxiway behind us that heads out basically to the runway. So we're going to have to backtrack all the way to the far end, which, being a 10,000 foot runway, is almost a 2-mile backtrack. Not a big deal. We'll get down there and get out. The flight today is just over 2 hours. Should be a smooth one. I have no idea what the weather is down in our destination. We are actually flying to, let me just pull up the name of the place, Tontuta in New Caledonia. I'm going to get another big runway there. We'll be landing on runway 11 at the moment, is what it's showing. So let's go in and start getting things set up, and then we can check the weather. Alright, so we're inside. So we're going to start with a little bit of overhead light here. And got my checklist. We'll get the flight plan up and going. Now what I'm going to have to do, because I flew with EasyJet earlier today. That's not what I want. This is what I want. Options. AOC. Sim brief. And I had to put in his information there to get the flight plan. If you haven't seen those, look for those coming out. They're not going to come out on a regular basis. But they are they're pretty much a group of us flying together. EasyJet Sim Pilot, his YouTube channel, and there's usually a couple of us together. Today there was 5 of us. Actually, we flew from Madrid, Spain to Gothenburg, Sweden, so that was pretty cool. Alright, so that's set. So let's go over here. We'll request our flight plan. There we go. NFFN to NWWW. Our alternate is in Australia, actually, it looks like, or an island under Australian control. So we got that information. So let's go over here into the ATSU, and we will send off the weather request, and we can start doing our pre-flight. So, parking brake is set, chocks are removed, ground power unit is connected, throttle levers are at idle, engine master is off, ignition switch is normal. We'll go up to the batteries. Batteries coming on. Generator switches are on. They faulted, which is the normal state because there's no power going to them. External power is connected. Adheres are now aligning. And we'll come down and do our panels. So interesting flight across Europe this morning. Absolutely no ATC in the control areas or the centers. So it was fairly quiet. And then of course we landed and we just had the one ATC ground to tell us to park. And he parked us all together, which was pretty nice of him. So we were kind of lined up. Click on the pedestal and I click on the pedestal. We'll click up on the MCDUs to brighten them up as well. So still running the fly-by-wire stable version 5.2. Alright, so the landing gear lever is down, flap lever is up, spoilers are retracted, fuel quantity is checked because our alternate's quite a long way away, so we got a lot of fuel on board. And we'll get the signs on. And yeah, there's no option with ATC guys here for packaging catering. So I'm going to see if it will do it through Pushback Express. So let me see if I can do that. So if I go to catering, does it give me a catering truck outside? Or will it just kind of ignore it since there is nobody there? Baggage? Nope, nobody there, so it's not going to do anything. Okay. That is fine for now. We can go back inside the cockpit. And cabin crew, you can board when ready. And we will get the rest of the aircraft set up. So, we'll go over to our initialization page. You can see everything is there. Flight level 360. The temperature is off, so I'm going to put in 360. And it's, I've got minus 43, so that'll adjust a little bit for the engine performance. We'll do our alignment on reference. That's done. And over to Init B. So today, 55.1 is our center of gravity, and our CG is 26.24. And our block fuel is 11,431, so 11.4. And our winds, our trip wind is a tailwind of 1 knot. Won't really affect much. Alright, so that's all entered in. We need a minimum of 0.8 tons on board, and our fuel prediction is 7.2. More than enough. Probably overloaded. But I want to check what SimBrief says we'll have. So SimBrief is saying I think they're saying we should have 4.48. Or yeah, 4.48, so 4.5, and we'll see what we end up with when we get there. Still trying to figure out fuel settings for this airplane. So that's all good. So that's entered in. Flight plan. We're here. We're going to be taking off on runway 02. I'm going to put none, since we're not doing the whole echo departure. So I'll just leave it at that. And then our arrival,
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, I would love to welcome you aboard our flight.
is the
When you find
ILS
your seat, please be sure to place your larger carry-on
X-ray
items in the overhead bins and smaller items underneath the seat in front of you. Unless you're in the front row, please place all of your
via
items in the
TOSAM,
overhead bin.
which is correct.
If you have any trouble finding a location for your carry-on items, please let a flight attendant know and we would be happy to assist you.
So if we go to
If the
plan,
overhead bin is full, please make sure you close it as a courtesy to other passengers. Please double check
We're
that
gonna
all
take
your items
off
are put away so that the aisle is clear and other passengers can make their way to their
on
seats.
02. We're
If you're in an
gonna
emergency
basically do a
exit row,
180 to
please
the
leave
left
exit seating responsibilities
and then
in the
fly
cars
out
in the
towards
seat back in front of you. If you're not able
the
to
first
comply with these
waypoint
actions,
once
please
we get a
let
little
flight
bit of
attendants know
altitude.
so that way you can be reseated. Now's the time to get out any last minute
And we're gonna
text
head,
messages if you need to,
like
but
I
we
said,
ask that
basically
once you
due
start
west
seated, you put away any laptops or tablets.
out
Thank you, and
to
welcome aboard.
Port Vila in the Vanuatu Islands, and then we turn southwest down, and there you can see the approach. Come down to this waypoint here, turn in, and that's the ILS into our destination. So fairly straightforward flight plan, but it is not a direct route. And that is fine. So 36,000 feet will be our climb altitude. So let's go back down. Flight plan is in. Performance we will do now. So our transition altitude here is, we'll call it 6,000 feet. Not sure. Thrust reduction. Now here's the interesting one. Should be 1,000 feet above, so it's going to be 1036. 1036. That's set. It's going to be a flaps 1 takeoff, and our trim setting for today is up 0.5. And our flex temp will be 65 degrees. And that is that. So, V1 of 133, rotation speed of 134, and a climb out speed of 138. Minimum climb speed of 138. So 109.9 is the ILS frequency. And 109.9 is what I have on the chart for our destination, so that is great.
We're ready to go when you are.
Oh, thank you very much. So that is all done there.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome aboard Flight 5556. Our flight time will be
So we'll
roughly
get the
2
APU up and
hours
going.
and 3 minutes. Now that the cabin door is closed, please make sure that all devices are in airplane mode and your large devices are now shut down and stowed. Please fasten your seatbelt and make sure that all tray tables and seat backs are in a full upright and locked position for departure. Cabin crew, secure doors for departure.
Alright, so we are pretty much set. Interesting thing, they're working on the experimental version. I think it's now in the dev version as the printer here works. We'll be playing with that shortly. I had a crash the desktop, so I went back to the stable version. I may switch back to the latest developmental for the next flight. It's pretty cool. You can print out the ATIS, you can print out the weather, and that way you don't have to flip back and forth or jot it down, because you can put the piece of paper right above the throttles, and then I've got a view set up where I can just go like that, and I'll be able to see it and then enter it into the McDo on the side. So that's pretty handy. Alright, APU's coming up. So the ground crew know we're almost there.
Cockpit to ground. Go ahead, flight deck. We will be ready shortly. Okay, I will hold.
Alright. Yeah, got that foggy weather there. So hats off to the fly-by-wire guys. They're testing their flight model. From what I hear, it seems to be a big improvement over the generic one. Hopefully they can get the VNAV system working properly. Asobo doesn't seem to have that as a priority, but it's really critical for flying these airplanes, especially with some of these approaches and stuff. Okay, so it looks like we have APU available. So APU has started. APU bleed coming on. You can hear the air going. APU generator is on. Thrust levers are at 0. Engine area is clear. Fuel pumps are coming on. Crew oxygen's on. Emergency seats, and we'll get the air up and running now that we've got everything blowing in the back there. And I think we're good to go. So we're going to go tail to the right and taxi out to the left. And again, we are not using ATC because they are a pain.
Cockpit to ground. Go ahead, flight deck. We are ready for pushback and engine start. Roger. Release the parking brakes, please.
Alright, parking brakes. Oop. Parking brakes have been released.
Parking brakes released. Pushing back.
Of course, there's no tug, so it's an instant push.
You are clear behind, and you can start your engines at your
Ladies and
discretion.
gentlemen, please direct your attention
Engine
to
one
the
starting.
for an important safety demonstration. Thank you for flying with us.
Madame, Monsieur, bonjour et bienvenue à bord. Welcome aboard, ladies and gentlemen. La représentation qui va suivre concerne votre sécurité à bord. Merci de nous accorder votre attention. For your safety and comfort, please pay attention to the following safety performance. Chaque fois que ce signal est allumé, vous devez attacher votre ceinture. Elle soulignera élégamment votre taille tout en garantissant votre sécurité. Nous vous recommandons de la maintenir attachée de façon visible lorsque vous êtes à votre siège. Pour détacher votre ceinture, soulevez la partie supérieure de la boucle. Whenever the seatbelt sign is on, your seatbelt must be securely fastened. It will elegantly highlight your waistline while ensuring your
Pushback
safety.
complete. Set parking
We
brakes,
recommend
please.
that you keep your seatbelt fastened
Parking
and
brakes
visible
set.
at all
Roger.
times
Okay,
while
the tow
seated.
bar is disconnected and
To release the
equipment is clear.
seatbelt,
We'll
just
see you
leave
on
the
the right
buckle.
side with the pin.
Il est
Thanks, and you
strictement
can
interdit de
disconnect and
fumer
go to
dans
hand
l'avion,
signals.
y
Thanks.
compris
Have
dans
a
les
good flight. See you
toilettes.
later.
Starting
Veuillez,
engine 2.
sans tabac, the illuminated signs will help you locate the exit doors.
Engine 2.
Take a moment now to locate
Should
the
I have
sign
the beacon light
nearest you.
on? That's fine.
It may be behind you.
So,
Les issues de secours sont situées de chaque côté de la cabine,
engine 2 is
à
up.
l'avant, au centre.
Ignition
à l'arrière.
master to normal.
Emergency exits on each side of the cabin are
APU is
located
off.
at the front, in the center, and at the rear. Pour évacuer l'avion, suivez le marquage lumineux selon les instructions de l'équipage. In the event of an evacuation, walk along the illuminated path and follow the crew's instructions. L'emplacement de votre gilet de sauvetage est indiqué sur l'étiquette devant vous. The location of your life jacket is indicated on the label right in front of you. Passez la tête dans l'encolure, attachez et serrez la sangle. Place it over your head and pull the stripe tightly around your waist. Une fois à l'extérieur de l'avion, gonflez votre gilet en tirant sur la poignée rouge. When you are outside the aircraft, inflate your life jacket by pulling the red toggle. Soyez tendance durant ce vol. Réglez vos appareils électroniques en mode avion. Because it is trendy here, set your electronic devices on airplane mode. L'équipage vous informera des conditions d'utilisation de vos équipements pendant le vol. Si vous n'utilisez pas vos appareils électroniques, nous vous invitons à les éteindre et à les ranger. The crew will inform you about the conditions of use of your equipment during the flight. If you do not use your electronic devices, we invite you to switch them off and stow them away. En cas de perte d'un appareil électronique, évitez toute manipulation de votre siège et prévenez l'équipage. In case of the loss of an electronic device, please avoid manipulating your seat and call a crew member. Pour votre sécurité, vos bagages et les appareils les plus volumineux doivent être rangés pendant le roulage, le décollage et l'atterrissage. For your safety, your baggage and your biggest devices must be stowed away during taxi, takeoff and landing. Nous allons bientôt décoller. We'll be taking off shortly. La tablette doit être rangée et votre dossier redressé. Please make sure your tray table is stowed away and secured and that your seat back is in the upright position. Une notice de sécurité, placée devant vous, est à votre disposition. Pour toute question, l'équipage est à votre écoute. We encourage everyone to read the safety information leaflet located in front of you. If you have any questions, our crew is here to help you. Merci pour votre attention. Au nom de toute la compagnie Air France, nous vous souhaitons un excellent vol. Thank you for your attention. On behalf of the whole Air France company, we wish you a very pleasant flight.
So our taxi checks are all done. We're going to head over to the runway and then backtrack all the way down to the far end. Don't see anybody coming in. So runway lights will go on, or takeoff lights will go on, strobes will go on, and taxi to takeoff.
Cabin crew seats for takeoff.
And we'll head down to the far end, and then we'll be coming back. So I wish those safety announcements were all kind of played at the same volume, but they're all recorded at slightly different levels. That's fine. So we are pretty much ready to go. Oop, lock the door. And we'll go to performance. And we'll get an updated weather when we get closer. So this was Fiji, pretty nice. A custom airport again. Got to mention that it is a freeware airport off of the Flight Sim TO website. I couldn't find one for our destination, so we're not going to have one for there. So not sure what actual airlines fly out of here, but I went with the Air France just because they are French islands apparently. So kind of made a little bit of sense as that's where we're flying to. Of course, we flew Fiji to get here. All right, well, we're past the halfway point. You can see the touchdown zone coming up. So I haven't touched the throttles. This is kind of running on our own. I'm wondering how fast we're getting up to. 35 knots, okay. So if you don't have them, even if you do a lot of flight simming, I would highly recommend Navigraph charts. You do have to pay for the subscription, but they are updated on schedule. They cover the world. Approach plates, departure plates, airport diagrams, taxi diagrams, all the information. If you're going to be flight simming, and especially if you're flight simming on VATSIM or Aveo, they're critical. I mean, if you don't have them, you are really going to be hurting. because everything is done to them just like in real life. Alright, here's the turnaround coming up. See, this airport looks nice. The turnaround looks in a good position. Those lights are in a good position. There we go. We'll come around. And we will be ready to go. There we are. So brakes are set. Everything is set. Engines to 40. Let them spool and stabilize. Engines are stable. And going to flex. Man flex, SRS, and runway enabled. 5-degree nose down. Airspeed is alive. Knots, ease the pressure. Keep her centered. V1, rotate. Constant pressure to 17 degrees. Positive rate, gear up. Lever to climb, commencing turn. 30-degree turn to the left. I'll get that nose down. Accelerate 10 degrees. There's the rain. Level her out. Keep it at 10 degrees in acceleration. Nosing down to about 5 degrees. So your speed's coming up. Retracting flaps. Right turn to get us back on course. And autopilot coming on. Oh, we're skimming the clouds. I did forget to turn on weather radar, and that, and actually that as well. So checklists. They're always a good idea. All right, so now we're going to start our climb to our cruise altitude. So we're holding 250 knots. And we'll set a 2,500 foot per minute climb rate. Get us up over this little bit of turbulence. Get us climbing at a decent speed. So I'm going to leave you here. We are doing pretty good here with getting up and into our cruise. So I'll let you enjoy some of the views as we go. And you can sit back, relax, enjoy the in-flight service with Air France. And we'll see you when we get closer to New Caledonia. Hey, welcome back to the flight deck. Hope you've enjoyed the flight so far. We're heading south towards the islands. You can see on the ND we've got the left turn onto the approach into the ILS. We've got an altitude restriction of 7,000 feet at Tosam, which is our next waypoint. That's so we can clear the Central Ridge Mountains over the island. We do have some clouds down there. It's a few clouds, and then there's a little bit of a broken layer above it, but no sign of storms or anything, so it should be a good approach. Now, we have an altitude constraint at Tosam of 7,000 feet, flight level 70. I'm going to try a managed descent and see if this will actually get us to 7,000 feet by the time we get there. We'll take over if it doesn't, but it'll be interesting to see. After that, we make the left turn, which basically puts us on the ILS path, and then we have to drop down. The intercept altitude is 1,800 feet, but Tosam is 25 miles out, so we have plenty of time for our descent. So I'm just watching where we are. We're going to start the descent a little early. So I'm going to start it at 125 miles. And basically I'm just going to click upwards, like up click, and now we'll put it into managed mode. And we'll see if it actually starts the descent when it should. Be very interesting to see. You can see the restrictions in the flight plan. So there's 125. So it should bring us on a shallow descent until we intercept the flight path to get us down. There's 125, so let's do that. Okay. We're at cruise. I don't want an open descent, I want a managed descent. See if it's actually going to start it or not. So the aircraft is actually at the cross between the wing and the fuselage of the diagram. Don't know if it's going to do it. We will see. We've got a little bit of time. It's not bad. Yeah, I should have put it in an armed mode for our descent. Alright, so it's not doing it, so we'll do that. Oh, that's why, because I didn't put the altitude in. You ding dong. There we go. $7,000 feet. We'll see how she does.
To assist with customs at our destination, flight attendants will begin handing out forms momentarily. Please review and complete these forms and keep them with you for presentation upon arrival.
So again, we're going to manage the speed. Keep it around 280. See if we can get us down to 7,000 feet in time. So you can see the clouds are cleared up a little bit, which is nice. There's a island, looks like off to our right. That is, it's one of the Caledonia Islands. I'm not sure which one. There's a little town there called Hunty. There's another island off to our other side that has a couple little towns on it. It's under more cloud. Alright, that's got us descending rather quickly. We'll keep working the speed, keep us relatively stable. The island is about 25 miles across, but it's got a mountain ridge that runs down the center of it, so we're going to want to keep an eye on that. I've also tuned in a couple things. We got the VOR here, LTO, which is at the airport. It's part of the missed approach procedure, which is why I've got it dialed in. And the ADF here is part way down the approach, and it's just an indicator for direction that we'll have. As we can see, the VOR is now pointing towards the airfield. Since it's picking it up, so the speed's sneaking up again, so we'll come down to 6.8. So you can see as the speed was increasing, the angle was increasing because our speed over the ground was going up, which is not ideal, because if we got to go at a steeper angle if we're going faster. So now we're heading directly to TOSAM. So we're under 28,000, so we'll get the seatbelt signs on and get everyone seated. Just make out the island ahead at the edge of the clouds.
Please return to your seat as the seatbelt sign is now on.
Work to keep that 280, and there we go, 270, so we can set 280 and she'll hold. Little bug. We should be able to do this at higher altitudes as well. It shouldn't be restricted to just under 2,600 or 26,000 feet. Talking with real-world pilots, you can do that, and that way you can maintain a stable descent and it doesn't accelerate out of your hands. There's 24,000. This is speed coming up, so we'll go to a little bit of speed brake. Get that speed down. A lot of speed brake. I don't like the angle it's taking. Stop doing that. Yeah, it's just driving us downwards, so we're gonna come out of that. Start slowing ourselves down here. So that's not working. It's a shame. Shouldn't be running your engines like that. I don't know why the engines get carried away. Hopefully that gets resolved sooner rather than later. $11,000 feet is our transition altitude. We have 60 miles to go, so that's fine. Playing with the engines, playing with their altitude. It's 8,000 feet. You got 11,000 feet to go. Holder there. See the island ahead? Some definite mountains here. The airport is about our 10 o'clock, 10:30. Kind of the flat area between the hills there, off to our left. We're 50 miles out. Again, the engines are spooling. I don't know why. definitely looking better weather-wise out here at this island. 40 miles, 47 miles out. So once we get the VNav working, oh, it is going to be so nice. Alright, so weather radar is on the FO side. I'm going to go to terrain to get the weather off of my screen. So we're not picking up the ADF yet, but we do have the VOR at the airport, and you can see it's pointing off in the direction of the airfield. Generic airfield, I couldn't find a freeware add-on. Can't set the course for the ILS, so that's rather annoying. Would be nice. 48 miles from the airport now. And 40 miles from Tosam. You can see the speed creeping because the engines are up and running. Again, not sure why they do that. $30 toward deceleration point, but we'll be going to 250 knots. For 10,000 feet. So there's 12,000 feet coming up. We'll go to 260. Start that speed coming back. We crept up to 290. Slowly decreasing. 250 now. It's 11,000 feet transition altitude, so lights will come on. Landing lights on, they're all on. And we will go over to under pressure, and at 1004 set and cross-checked. So the ADF is kicking in, and we're just at the edge of the range for it. There's no distance measuring equipment on it, it'll just give us a direction.
We have begun our final descent into your destination. Flight attendants will be passing through the cabin to collect any trash one final time. Please ensure tray tables are stowed and seats are in the full upright position. Please also store any carry-on items either in the seat back pocket or under the seat in front of you. Please complete all Wi-Fi related tasks and stow any larger electronics.
So we're now 27 miles out. So it'd be nice if this had a banana on the display. And a banana is a little curved line that kind of says this is when you're going to reach the altitude you've selected, rather than these weird things. So you can adjust your speed and your descent rate to put the banana on the point you want to reach it. But that's fine. Traveling over the Pacific Island here, we're down to 260. But I don't want to put the speed brakes out yet. So we're under 10,000 feet. So 250 is set. Landing lights are on. Landing systems are coming on. Fuel quantity is checked. Flaps are up, landing gear are up. And they are confirmed. So we're going to start easing out of the climb. go. And our speed will come back to 250. Maybe a little bit bumpy as we cross over the hills here. Very scenic, some low clouds in the peaks. Very nice. Over the jungles here and the mountaintops. Alright. So altitude is set for 7,000. See the mountain peaks over here just coming up on the terrain radar. Definitely a little turbulent. So we're going to go into approach mode now. Everything is set. Winds are pretty much straight down the runway and an approach speed of 133. Is what we should be doing. And we're 27 miles direct line to the airport, which is over at the coast in that direction. So after this we're going to descend to 1,800 feet, and we have to be there by the time we reach the beacon there that's flashing away. Alright, deceleration point is coming up. There's no speed restrictions on the arrival, but we're going to do it anyway to slow down. So we're in approach mode. Seatbelt signs are confirmed on. Radios are set. Speed 210. Landing lights are on. Taxi light is on. Ground spoilers. We'll wait. We may need them. The runway length is 10,000 feet, so we will not be using landing auto brakes. The speed is coming down. We're 4 miles out. Here we're picking up the ILS. As soon as we make that turn, we're going to start our descent to 1,800. It's 3 miles. We may need the spoilers, which is why I haven't armed them. There's the airport. You can see the lights flashing over there. And there's the turn. Start our descent. It's like a little grass strip down there. Alright, so we are looking good. We're coming in. There's the localizer coming in. We are descending. So NW, we have to be at 1,800 feet. So we are going a little bit slow. So So we're going to go to 1,100 feet per minute. To get us down. So you see the VOR is pointing the right way. The ADF is flashing. I'm not sure if it's a flashing beacon or not, or an intermittent signal. But when that turns or faces the other way, that's when we have to be at 1,800 feet. So we're 19 miles out. Alright, so we'll ding the cabin. Everything's set. Looks like we're doing good, so we'll load that. So landing gear. We're not there yet. We're at 180. So I'm going to go flaps 1. Start bringing our speed down. Speed is starting to slow. We want to be below the glide slope when we hit approach mode. I learned that from a flight I did earlier, a group flight. I engaged it when we were above, and it does not capture because you have to pass through the beam. So that was not good. So you can see we're slightly offset. The course we're on is not exactly lined up. That's fine. We're 15 miles out. And descending. So speed is slowly coming back. 210 knots. $1,800 feet to go on the descent. We're lining up a little bit nicer now. As we come in. $1,000 feet to go. And we are descending at a greater angle than the glide path, which is what we want, because we want to be able to level off and then get ready to come in. So 600 feet to go. See how close we get with the beacon. Beacon just flipped, so we're a little high, but that's okay. We're below glide slope, and we are starting to level out. So the missed approach is we climbed to 2,000 feet on the 124 radial off the VOR, which I do have set in here on the for the VOR. Or we climb out on the 125 radial, then at 2,000 feet we turn to 198. Oop, we're drifting. We turn to 198, and then we climb to 7,000 feet and follow ATC instructions. So there's the glide slope. Is intercepted, so flaps 2. Speed's going to continue coming back. Ground spoilers are armed. Is that cabin? No, flaps and landing gear. Okay. So gear down. Gear down 3 green, flaps 3. Three miles out. So we're set on the localizer, set on the glide slope. We are lined up, flaps full.
1,000. Above.
Looking good.
300. 200.
Continuing.
100. 50. 40. 30.
Whoa.
20.
Sync rate.
That was not good. Wow, as soon as I cut the engines, she dove for the ground. Not what we want to see, not what we want to see at all. Although I did cut him a little late. So we're overshot because of that. Alright, so we will turn around.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have reached our destination. The local time is 12 p.m. and it's currently about 31 degrees Celsius. You can now use your mobile devices. Please remain seated until the aircraft has come to a complete stop and the seatbelt sign is turned off. Remember to use caution when opening the overhead bins, as items may have shifted during the flight. If this is your final destination, we thank you for flying with us. If you're making a connection, we encourage you to check your itinerary to ensure a smooth continuation of your journey.
Not sure why she dove there. Could have disengaged earlier and hand flew it in, but I didn't. Alright, so we'll get that on. We'll get you guys off in your taxi, so that's fine. So we're going to head into, oops, the terminal. And the one gate that they have. But we're here in New Caledonia. I'm not sure why it dove, but we will deal with that eventually. Fuel truck is sitting right there. I don't know why they've got grass here on the runway. Oh, you gotta come in this way. Oh, I see. Okay, my mistake. Oh, I see now. Should have taxied it on that line there. That's fine. I just thought it was a screw up with the default airport. okay. We'll come in and we'll wheel around. Oh, there's the other gate there. Okay. That makes more sense. There we go. And you're all waiting for me over there, and I'm pulling in here. Well, that's just too bad. And there we are. Alright, so parking brake is set. Thrust levers are at idle. Ground contact. You gonna do my thing here. You're not gonna do it. Okay, that's fine. We do have that, so we'll go APU bleed. There's the power for the system. Engine's coming off. That silly logbook. People can get out. And anti-ice will go off. Oop, no, if he bleeds, come on. Anti-ice will go off. And this is all set. Engines, and we are done. So everybody, welcome to New Caledonia. Hope you enjoyed the flight. It was rather uneventful. Stormy takeoff when we left Fiji, but or bad weather takeoff anyway. But we're here in New Caledonia and the sun is shining. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.